to certain hot topics that are affecting the country, ultimately that are affecting the youth of this country. But then on the panel we've got Treasure Basoko, is the Manicaland provincial spokesperson for the Youth Advocacy. By his side we've got Lennon Manyengawana, is the National Recruitment Mobilization Secretary for the Command for the Youth Advocacy for Reform and Democracy. Then we've got the Commander-in-Chief of the Youth Advocacy for Reform and Democracy, Comrade Temba Mliso. Next to him we've got Delight Benge, is the National National Commander for Administration in YARD, and myself, Mumbu Totina, I'm the National Spokesperson. So first in line, we're going to have the statement from the Commander-in-Chief, then we're going to have a statement from the National Commander for Administration, and then it's going to be Lennon Manyengawana and the National Recruitment and Mobilization. After which we will entertain questions that will come from members of the fourth estate. So that's how we're going to go. So, Commander.
Thank you very much, National Commander, for this good morning to you all. I think it's only proper that for a very long time, the youth have never had a say. They've never been given an opportunity to speak. And yet they're most affected with what goes on in the country. To be YARD's responsibility to equally contribute and comment on something that is of relevance to this country because of the fact that the youth constitutes 60 to 70%. We equally hope that the media will also resonate with that, because that's what it's supposed to be. I think whatever you write about must reflect the majority of the people, not the minority of the people. And I think it's important that we take heed of that, and we will do this from time to time. I want to respond to Comrade Kasukwe's statement in Urungwe Chikangwe Stadium, which is Urungwe Central. Not to attack Kasukwere, but the repercussions that those statements have for this country, and I think for the sort of manifesto that ZANU-PF had in terms of campaigning for victory and equally for the president at the end of the day. Comrade Kasukwe's statement in repossessing my farm infringes of one's right. I'm a holder of an offer letter for 99 years on the farm by government, not ZANU-PF. By government, this is Zimbabwe. Agriculture, as you might all be aware of, is key in the growth of the economy. As a result, we are on the recovery path. And a statement like that would not at all be comfortable with any people wanting to invest in agriculture in this country. We are not doing well in terms of the production. We're importing maize, literally importing everything because of the land reform. The thing land reform is supposed to be productive. I'm a very productive farmer, probably the most productive farmer in Urungwe. I have a record of contributing most maize to the GNB. I've taken more maize than most people have done to the GNB, even at the time when I could have gone onto the black market to sell the maize. I took it to the GNB because I believe it was important for the people of this country to also ensure that the food security aspect is managed at the end of the day. When a party official of a governing party stands up to then say, we shall repossess the land because you're no longer part of the system, because you have exercised your democratic right by criticizing the government in power, by criticizing the head of state. Even the head of state, Comrade Mbaba, has even given farms to people like Mzureo. what this schoolboy Kasuku is on about. My parents were part of the struggle. They were Zebra, they were Zapu in Zambia. They contributed to the struggle of this country. His father was a sellout in the struggle. He never took part in the struggle. He equally never took part in the struggle. We were born in Zambia as a result of the struggle. I was born in Zambia because my parents were born there as a result of the liberation struggle. My parents don't own a farm. They don't want to own a farm. Through me, they believe that it was a just cause to be part of the struggle. Then you have somebody who was never part of the struggle, who his father was never part of the struggle, if anything, was a sellout. Then unilaterally makes a decision to then say that my land, which is my birthright, will be repossessed because I am no longer a ZANU-PF and because I criticize the government. It says a lot in terms of the entire system, in that who is safe with the land and whose money is safe on such land. We are constantly attacking the banks for not providing collateral to the new farmers, rightfully so, because a foolish, childish schoolboy like Asukwere then makes a statement like that. So whose money is guaranteed at the end of the day? These are the long-term repercussions which we must understand from that statement. We could certainly have personal differences which are well known in the public. I used to be a personal trainer, I've said that. I've said that we have a court case coming up of which I have said he is a homosexual. He bets for both sides, meaning that he deals with at the same time for commercial reasons. There's a court case in Mutare, which is in the court records involving a Mr. Brown, a white man who he used to partner with in terms of the homosexual activities. That is yet to, of course, to the public, but it is a court record. But I also see it as a personal vendetta that he has on me in the allegations that I've always said that he is not straight, he has never been straight. I mean, here is a guy who's constantly wearing Pampers. I was Kasukwere's personal trainer. And when you become one's personal trainer, you are a personal trainer. It's personal. It's personal. And I quit from being a personal trainer. He cannot dispute that. I trained with him from 4 a.m. in the morning to 5 a.m. I have messages which I will prove at a point when I should come and train him and so forth. This is, of course, for the courts. This is why I cannot wait for this court case to actually take off so that the truth can come out at the end of the day. This country is in short of money because of the corruption which has taken its toll. We have been building a multi-million-dollar house against a background that we have from an economic point of view. How feasible is that? In fact, a clear message to Comrade Kasukweere is that failure to account for your wealth results in the government forfeiting what you have. Those are some of the measures that YARD will be pushing to anybody who has wealth that they cannot account for. And that beautiful house that he has, that will be turned into a commercial sex workers' place and promote commercial sex work in this country. We have no doubt in doing that. We have no doubt in aligning and empowering those who are clear about what they are doing, those who are working for their money rather than those who are stealing. So we are more than happy, and he must know that he shall not enjoy the fruits of the people of this country by living in that house. That house is riddled with corruption, with dirty money that we all know of. We equally go as far as questioning ourselves that how come the president has never admonished enacted on corruption in this country. What is the role of the Anti-Corruption Commission? We must ask ourselves now, what is the role of the Anti-Corruption Commission? No one has been brought to book, despite us alleging X has done this. No investigation has been done. I've questioned this several times, that I have information to how corrupt Kaskwera was in terms of the Brainworks transactions. When he was Minister of Indigenization Empowerment, he created a company called the Brainworks, which basically, you will not see his name because it is a company which is warehoused. There's what you call warehousing of companies, where it's your company, but you're not there, but you have confidential documents that you keep in your safe with the people who work as your proxies. The Old Mutual transaction, which was the biggest indigenization transaction, is very quiet. Nobody knows who Old Mutual is. And the question is, why is it that Old Mutual is the one that is constantly running empowerment programs on behalf of ZANU-PF? CABS is the bank that Old Mutual controls. Why have people not asked themselves? Yet ZANU-PF itself believes in empowering its own. It cannot even empower its own bank by moving that facility to Agribank, to CBZ, to POSB, to ZB, a bank which they're shareholding in. But they choose for that money to go under CABS. Why? CABS is making money from the interest. Not only that, I also want to add on to the fact of that facility, which I hear will be resuscitated through CABS again. You cannot allow the same bank, which is ridden with debt, to continue giving money to people. You know, there is a saying says that you cannot attract good money by having bad money. CABS must concentrate on recovering the money. The reason why CABS don't want to recover the money, it implicates senior officials in ZANU-PF. It exposes those in ZANU-PF who took advantage of that. It exposes people related to Kasukwere who took advantage of that. So the best way is to put closure to that and allow CABS to continue with that. And the youth are very clear that most of them never benefited from that facility, and we would like a situation in line with our empowerment initiatives to have that facility put under a bank owned by the government, so that the youth are able to more or less access that money. We are very clear in terms of all these issues which are there pertaining to the Old Mutual transaction, which I've just alluded to. We are equally concerned about unilaterally firing a town clerk or suspending a town clerk in James Mshore. Can I be honest with you? My heart bleeds. Here is a man who's successful. Here is a man who does not have to steal. Here is a man who is part of a bank which is standing today. Here is a man who's schooled. Here is a man who brings investment to this country because of who he is, because who he's networked with. NMB is a strong bank. Julius Makoni were founders of that. It's gone nowhere. It remains solid. Here is a man who wants to serve his country so that his country moves forward. Then you have somebody unilaterally once again making a decision to get rid of such. How then are we going to attract those in the diaspora to come and work for this country if we are now having to disengage those who are already here, who want to just contribute to the country? The truth of the matter is that James Mshore does not need money. He has the money. He wants to see this country moving forward. It was a welcome move when we heard that James Mshore finally has joined in making sure that this country moves forward by being the town clerk from Harare. Professionalism was going to be seen at its best. But the reason why Kasukwere is not comfortable with James Mshore, James Mshore will not ascend and agree to corrupt activities. And that is the sole reason. He's not looking for money. And in that, they cannot have somebody who will be able to say, no, I don't agree with this, and I think this is the direction that we should take. It's something that as Zimbabweans, we need to fight, because we will continuously allow a few of us to have say in issues that affect us at the end of the day. It is my humble submission as a citizen of this country, as a leader of the youth, that I think the issues pertaining to how we should resolve the country are beyond the so-called talk shows we are having, equally even the press conferences that we are having. But what is critical is for us to plan for 2018. Constitutionally, you cannot remove Mugabe unless he retires or resigns. So by us continuously attacking him, he's now a seasoned politician. Those attacks don't mean anything to him. We've got to go on the ground, work with the people, ensure that electoral reforms are in place, ensure that there's participation, there's voter registration, ensure that ZEC is able to account to the electorate at the end of the day. That to me is what is critical. I've seen the number of events which everybody is doing at the end of the day. He's not moved by that. We should be getting down to the people. In the rural areas where 70% of the electorate is, whether you like it or not, where 70% of the electorate is. As much as I support the demonstration and the marches which are happening, they are important in giving confidence to the people. But they will not bring about the much needed change that we need in ensuring that this government must cease to exist because it is dysfunctional. We have to, more or less, whether you like it or not, plead and go on our knees and ask for mercy from the president to retire, step down. He must hear us, and we must pray to God so that he hears our prayers and he activates the very system that he has put in place to ensure that Mugabe is a leader at the end of the day. It becomes godly. No human can change that. Even if Mugabe goes, you still have the same system in control as per the constitution of this country. 2018, we are with ZANU-PF. In fact, 2018 with ZANU-PF as Mugabe as the leader is probably better than even Serge Kasukwere with these utterances he has. You can even imagine if he was a leader of this country, what he would do. So, you know, you can see what is coming after Mugabe. You can see what is coming after Mugabe. So at times, between now and 2018, it's better the devil we know. In 2018, we do what we have to do as Zimbabweans, in mobilizing ourselves to be able to cast our votes and to ensure that the playing field is even. There is no better answer than that. We need to get out there. We need to get talking to the people. Whether the boy with coins, don't blame Dr. John Manguja. He cannot do anything but tell you the truth that there is no money. There's no foreign direct investment. He has to come up with ways of ensuring that the economy moves, but the economy stopped moving. To show that it stopped moving, even the US dollar itself has been destroyed by this government. You cannot give them any currency, they'll destroy it. Even if you then replace it with the thing sterling, the pound, it will equally be destroyed. So it's very important for people, for like-minded people, to understand that moving forward, we have got to be involved in the mobilization of the youth being part of the structures. The youth, with their militant approach, being able to take this head. Being intimidated by Kasukwere in terms of violence is a no-show. It shows the blood that will be spilled 2018 already. It's going to be a violent election. We must mentally be prepared for that. And mentally be able to see a few bodies die for freedom to come. We thought that the struggle was done. Blood was spilled when the Chimurenga War ended. But there's more blood which will come as a result of some of these leaders like Kasukwere we have with such utterances. It's cynical, it's unacceptable for you to be part of this global nation and still intimidate people with violence. The scary bit is not him who fights, it's the youth. I have a message for the so-called Tyson of ZANU-PF. I am prepared to challenge him, wearing gloves, live on TV. live TV, wearing gloves, raise money, and that money will be given to the empowerment of the youth. It will be the most watched television program. I am prepared for us to fight wearing gloves and really see that is he the real Tyson he talks about, or he wants to use the youth. We expect him to be a fighter. We expect him to fight. I take him on this at any given time, and I challenge him to this fight. That here, as the commander-in-chief of YAD, representing the Thin Youth, I want him as the commissar of ZANU-PF, which is a violent party, for us to meet one-on-one in a boxing ring, wearing gloves. And we want to see who really is the Tyson. Can I remind him that the famous Tyson was knocked down by Buster Douglas? He got even found his mouth guard, and that was the end of it. We need now to see the violence that he talks about. He is a heavyweight, not by choice of muscle, by choice of being corrupt and his tummy getting big. My clear sign to him as a fitness trainer, as a boxer, is that he's going to start training now. Right now he's in bad shape to really get into the ring with me. He needs 6 months of boot camp training, not here outside, to really prepare for that role. We want to take it on. We want to take it on, but we want the commander himself to show us that he can throw 1 and 2 punches. We'll bop and weave and we'll jab. We'll bop and weave, we'll jab until it's down. We're not worried about that, because if you want to talk about violence, the youth are prepared, but the commander in charge of violence must also meet the commander of the youth, who also believes that we can take him on. We will not be intimidated by such noises when you're inciting youth to go and fight. And my message to the youth, stay out of it. Let your commander lead the fight with his commander. If he's not prepared to do that, then don't fight. You will all end up in prison at the end of the day, because he's basically encouraging you to be violent at the end of the day. At the time when the economy is down, we expect leaders like him to come up with economic initiatives that will better the economy. But ZANU-PF cannot talk about the economy. It is no answer for the economy. So this is my clear message to the Comrade Kasukwere, that him and I have trained before. I think taught him a few tricks. He knows that, but I am master. Let us brawl it out in the boxing ring. I'm ready anytime. Will not be intimidated, not at this level. And that money will go towards, it is money that will raise, that will go towards the empowerment of youth. We can no longer live in a country where we have a bull in a china shop, just coming through, bulldozing his way. Those days are gone. We were in ZANU-PF, we are no longer in ZANU-PF. It was very cold for him to be in a room without me being the chairperson of March West. He missed me. ZANU-PF missed me. He only had 400 people. When I was chairman, 5,000 people was the average. So I can see that I was missed, and that's the reason why the thing spoke about us. If YAD is a non-entity to ZANU-PF, why discuss YAD? I'll allow other comrades to discuss on the other issues in terms of the topics that they have. Thank you very much.
I will touch on the 10 million youth facility of Mutual. I understand 10 million is not a lot of money to talk about in an economy like Zimbabwe's, given that our budget, an annual budget probably is slightly above 3 billion. 10 million is nothing, but it's all about the precedent of how things are being done, how the empowerment concept is being carried out. I'll read my first statement. It is disheartening to note that we talk about youth empowerment in Zimbabwe, while only a few well-connected individuals benefited from the 10 million Ukondla Youth Fund. It is also appalling to realize that 97% of those who benefited from this fund did not pay back. There is a plethora of reasons for the high default rate. chief among them being the party manner in which the funds were dispersed. It becomes a cumbersome task to try to recover money that was dispersed along political lines, as the beneficiaries assumed they were getting freebies of partisan system. From the onset, the money was channeled from Old Mutual on political lines. It found its conduit through CAPS. Old Mutual's indigenization and the resulting shareholding were also done in a dubious manner. The whole process was marked with corruption and confusion. According to the revised National Youth Policy, the government should ensure that it approves a 25% quota of all economic indigenization and empowerment facilities, is reserved. The begging question is, what is the 25% quota that was promised to youth? The cancerous corruption activities have not spared the manner in which empowerment deals are being executed across the board. Yet its militant youth are observing with rigor the way the empowerment crusade has been hijacked by connected elite, while millions of educated and capable youth are being thrown to the dungeon of impoverishment. We are aware that some are building mansions with money intended to benefit the youth of Zimbabwe. The disbursement mechanics of youth funds in the next round should be completely overhauled. CABs are not a government, owned and cannot steer the process with the best interest of the youth in Zimbabwe. Also due to its nexus with Old Mutual. We are not helped with how the indigenization process was handled at this institution, and as such we profile different models of operandi. Funds should be disbursed through a government-owned or controlled bank such as PSB, ZB Bank, or AgriBank. CAB should focus on recovering the outstanding amounts so that this can be availed to deserving youth who did not benefit in the first place. The facility is supposed to be a revolving fund which benefits the majority of youth and not be disbursed on a partisan basis. Yet is advocating equitable distribution of resources in a non-partisan manner. We demand that youth have equal access to opportunities, as that is the primary reason why our forefathers partook in the liberation struggle. Youth are demanding a decent living which is free of the unknown. That is come to remove youth from the albatross of economic mismanagement and evil of a corrupt system. This nonsense stops with our generation. A whole bank with professionals who have competent risk models to claim they cannot recover 90% of loans is a fallacy of the highest order. It is indeed an indicator of a political leadership that does not have a tiny grain of integrity. We cannot pass the baton to the next generation for them to inherit this atrophy. Now, no, we cannot. And as such, here there's three objectives, which is 1, the youth, 2, the youth, 3, the youth. We are a balance that youth are going to lead here and now. End of my statement.
A pleasant morning to you once again. And my first statement is going to touch on the aspect of bond notes, popularly known as Maria Zhuta. What I hold in my hands right now, I think we are all perfectly acquainted to this note. And this is the number one culprit to the economic crisis of the country that we have, that we're facing today. It is the reason why we are impoverished today. It is again the reason why we are unemployed today. It was a clear manifestation of the highest level of economic madness ever to see face of the earth. As I sit here, it is no secret that our government has done it again. They have done what they know best, which is murdering the economy of this country. And now they intend to do what they know best, which is attempting to rig the economy. They are failing to address the problem, but rather are addressing the symptoms of the problems. They promised us 2 million jobs. Where are our 2 million jobs. Right now, we have them emphasizing on the 51-49% indigenization policy, but then we have no industries operating. We have no companies that are generating profits. Where do they expect that money to come from? Heavy taxation is being seen. We have a government that lives on hunting and gathering, taking the small monies that these companies are generating, killing the local industries. Even the SMEs can no longer thrive in Zimbabwe because of that heavy taxation. We have 15 billion that is said to be missing. No one can account for it. We have allegations of people in Zimbabwe, like Geshem, getting close to $500,000 because the banks have no money. Minister Joao has been targeting banks with the indigenization policy, killing investor security, and now we are suffering an economic quagmire and a liquidity crisis in Zimbabwe. This has largely disturbed the investment and even the flow of money within the country. And now they've resorted to the reintroduction of the economic devil in the form of bond notes, which we will not accept. The governor stated that it is an import substitution policy to introduce bond notes. But let me remind the governor that if it wasn't for the imports from South Africa, Zambia, and Mozambique, the people in Zimbabwe would have died of hunger, since we do not have the basic light industries operating in Zimbabwe. We are currently importing maize when we are in possession of our own land. The governor has to know that we need to go down to the basics. Let's address the problem, not the symptoms. We all know that the bond notes are imaginary money, devoid of meaning and value. And until we have a banking and viable industry, the bond notes remain vain and redundant on the wounds of the people. But let's cure the wounds. It is a political one and needs a political solution. As long as you apply the wrong solution, the problem will always remain.
So after everyone has spoken, I think if there are any questions from members of the meeting, we'll be entertaining those questions to any of the speakers or anyone who's on the panel.
I think one of the issues that is pertinent also raises the issue of whether Kasukuwere has the power to dispose the farm from, in terms of the laws of the country, he can't. The land is protected by the laws of this country. And it is the laws that will protect me. I don't need a political party to protect my investment in this country. It is the laws of this country which I think are very clear in how one is supposed to have his land. I'm also different from most of the beneficiaries in the land reform. I've paid for most of the infrastructure on the farm. I own that infrastructure. It is the land, and if at any time government thought of repossessing it, they would have to compensate me, which I clearly indicated them the last time there was an invasion on the farm, that I'm more than happy to really not to farm right now. It's not productive. It's not worth it. There's no money to farm. So, but there is so much land back in this country farming, but they don't own land. We don't have to own land to make money. We need to have the money to put into land. That's what is critical at the end of the day. And of course, Spring Farm, which is 10-kilometer radius out of Karoi, has always been targeted for residential developments and so forth. But before you get to my farm, there are 4 other farms that you need to get to. And equally, they cannot jump Karoi and get to my farm. There is the prison farm, there is the farm owned by Rama, there's a farm owned by the Minister Chombo's wife, who has a farm called Jacob's Lauda, which is just before my farm. So it is a process. So some of these things that he says clearly contravene what is the Ethics Act is all about. The law protects us, not individuals. The powers that he has even in a month, he never repossessed the farm from me. He can ask people to invade it, which is illegal. but not own it, it's virtually impossible. It is a mammoth task, and I can challenge him to that. He can live by his words and can go ahead and repossess my farm. It's not as easy as he thinks. This is not Harare Town Council where you can just expel and dictate. This is a farm owned by any individual. And I challenge him to that. Can you go ahead and repossess that farm? As he said, I don't live by threats, unfortunately. I don't, and there is no way that one can be on a farm being threatened every day. I don't. It's better he takes the farm and he must start the exercise now. But he must also equally know that we all live in a world that God does control. And tomorrow is not tomorrow any of us.
Sorry, yeah. That had a
Listen, to me, it's pretty clear. ACE is on. It's always good to have people who are within, outside, saying what it is, because it shows that we are moving forward as a country. And I think ACE, whether it's sour grapes or not, that's not the issue. It is what he's saying. Is it true? Is it progressive for this country? And most of the things that he said have been progressive. And he must give us a lot more. But like I've said at the end of the day, ACE and I can talk all year, but this system is so rigid that it will not do anything about it. It's still in power till 2018. That's a fact that we cannot argue with, no one can challenge at the end of the day. What effect has that got to do? And I think it's equally important. I mean, I'd like to see ACE taking this message to the people through the thing structures that we have been had, through that rural constituency. I say this over and over again. For as long as we don't get this to the rural constituency, that there is corruption, 15 billion went missing. Other people in the rural constituencies right now don't even know. And they are key to voting. And who is sending that message? They don't have social media. Studio 7 is a good vehicle of getting the message across, but we need to have young people going on the ground. Yeah, ACE would be a good person because he's ZANU-PF, so that sort of resistance, which is likely to come from the system, will not come. But his message is correct. Everybody supports him on it, and we need to have more people. The likes of Godfrey Tenenga, what they are saying about the Million Man March, whether they're out of the system is not the issue. And Zimbabweans must desist from saying, but oh, he used to be in ZANU-PF and so forth. Listen, you equally have sinned before. Why should we question you why you've gone to church? So we need progressive, like-minded minds. And the only way you can win this war is to work with those who are in ZANU-PF, to just take it forward. Because on your own, you've not been able to do it. When we come to try and work with you, you are then doubtful of what we are doing. We cannot move forward in what we are trying to achieve as this nation. We've got to bury the hatchet and get on with the kingdom.
Yeah, okay. First of all, I'd like to comment on what you are saying. I think most people, why they wouldn't trust someone who's been in ZANU-PF before, is that we have people like Jonathan Moore, when he was kicked out of ZANU-PF, he joined the opposition, and when everyone thought he would win them, all of a sudden they changed and they were taking ZANU-PF. So many people were a bit skeptical about the people who have been in ZANU-PF, that maybe it's out of it's the fact that they've been stripped of those favors that come with being a member of ZANU-PF. But my question to you is, what happens in 2018 if ZANU-PF wins the election? Let's assume ZANU-PF wins again or wins the election. It has always been alleged that they rig the election. What do you think should happen to the people of Zimbabwe? Say they've lost, say ZANU-PF wins again in 2018. What do you think would be going forward?
To me, I think what is critical at the end of the day is to first assess the situation. And it's important to hear it from some of us who are the central committee, who are provincial chairpersons, who are legislators, because we were on the ground. We dealt with the system, we understood the system. ZANU-PF does not campaign. It's never campaign. The machineries that ZANU-PF uses is the state through the security via the war veterans. There is no individual. When they start to campaign, they even block all the politicians from entering the areas because they realize that nobody wants to see them. The war veterans are key to the survival of ZANU-PF. But the question that we must ask ourselves is ZANU-PF the same ZANU-PF 5 years ago? 2013 to now, the only thing ZANU-PF has done is go on a self-destructive path. That has never happened in the history of this country, in the history of ZANU-PF. They've gone for Manjuni and Kabal. They've gone, now they're going for Mnangagwa and Kabal. But Mnangagwa's survival is in the security and the war veterans of this country, which Manjuni did not have. While everybody has taken a position, the security of this country, which is made out of war veterans, has put a stop to that. They are key to a free, fair, and credible election. Forget about everybody else. They are irrelevant. When the election happened in Urunga West, it was the war veterans of the system in charge. The war veterans fall under the military as a reserve force. Understand that. They are still militant. If a war starts, they are prepared, they are actually taken on to go and fight. Zimbabweans must understand that. And the way they are deployed is very tactful. The war veterans who fought in that area are the ones who go in that area. If your name was Comrade Muliswa and you were feared, you are taken back to that area. And people have memories of what you did during the struggle. It's very psychological and it's very difficult to break to a parent who knows what Comrade Muliswa could do. It is a process. It is a process. It's not ZANU-PF. It is the system. But the system has fallen out of favor with the First Lady. It has fallen out of favor with the National Commissar. In their meeting with the President, they were very clear in saying that Kasukwere must go. War veterans are disciplined by nature. That was good enough to say, if you don't get rid of this man, we will not break ZANU-PF. Indirectly, that was the message. They then go quiet and they don't work. And this is when opposition parties and like-minded people must be moving together. People first strength is in ZANU-PF. People's strength must be taking seats from ZANU-PF, not from MDC. MDC must keep its own seats. They to the coalition and victory at the end of the day. Is that what is happening? I'm now answering your question of 2018. That is not happening. The first test for people first is for them to have a candidate in Mazoe where Honorable Chidawenzi, the thing late constituency. That's a by-election. That's much central. That is the home of the leader of people first. We need to test the ground. Are they putting a candidate? And our support is very clear. Anybody who's putting a candidate against ZANU-PF will support. He had in his thousands who will go and campaign for that person. As long as it's against ZANU-PF, we will. So this is a challenge that people first have. Now that they are a fully fledged party, there's a by-election coming. They cannot talk about electoral reforms because they've never faced an election for them to talk about electoral reforms. You know, they can't hide behind that. What is the basis of saying electoral reforms when you've never taken part in an election? They must first take part in the election. Come face to face with the electoral malpractices and lobby for that. NERA is key. But you see, we seem to start things, but we don't then go together. And then we also get divided on issues which unite us, which are good for us as Zimbabweans at the end of the day. And with all this that is happening, you are more or less giving an opportunity for ZANU-PF to actually win 2018. Right now, I did not see anything. The only thing which will stop ZANU-PF from winning 20 election is not YAD, it's not MDC, it's not people first, it is the economy. Nothing but the economy. You can't rig the economy. And that is the only thing that will stop ZANU-PF. The bond coins. The failure to give farmers, tobacco farmers, their money is critical. That is a rural constituency. They've hurt the rural constituency. where your mother, your brother has always sold tobacco, given cash. They buy their inputs for the other season. They go and pay their fees. Right now, they cannot even pay. They cannot even take the money that they want. They've hurt the electorate in their own. That's the rural. Tobacco and farming is the rural. And you hurt them by denying what's theirs. But who's taking advantage of that? Who's addressing the farmers? Where are the parties and calling for meetings in the rural areas that look at it now? Tobacco, you're being denied the money, yet you work hard. There's nothing as sad as denying a person their hard-earned money. They are now remembering when the shops had no food. ZANU people don't want to go to an election now. Because people say, no, we are going to go through that situation where the shops were empty. Trying to imagine that. That's the only thing. I think any other. Thank you very much.